Welcome to the Sport and Society Squad pod, aka the SAS. Each week, we bring you 3 sport or society stories to break down and give you our sassiest takes. With those takes, we do want to give you a content warning that some of the language used on the pod may be explicit. We just ask that you please be mindful of where you're listening and who you're listening with. I'm with co-hosts Arizan and Wahida. How are we doing, ladies?
Hi, I'm in Miami.
Miami.
So I'm good.
So fun. Can you bring back some sunshine for us?
Yes.
Please.
I'm getting all the
please.
sunshine.
Well, I have nothing to report, but Q2, here we are, 2025.
Damn.
Let's do it.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Anyway, before we get into the playbook for today, I want to go over a quick huddle. We will cover a few Sports Society highlights from this past week so our listeners feel like they are in the know with our sports and pop culture world. Here are some huddle highlights that we will be breaking down. We won't be breaking down in depth, but think are worthy to know. In NFL news, New Orleans Saints star defensive tackle Kalen Saunders says he is hosting an LGBTQ-friendly youth football camp. He goes on to say the NFL is a very male-dominant and heterosexual dominant, and it feels as though there are not really any spaces for the LGBTQ community. Saunders' brother, Cameron, is a backup dancer for Taylor Swift, so he just wants to make football accessible to everyone, and we love this story.
Sorry, it's just going to not stop because it's Taylor
Stop
Swift again.
pounding.
Oh.
But I love that. That's so, I love that so much.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So cool.
In hockey news, Washington Capitals captain Alex Ovechkin beat Wayne Gretzky's NHL all-time scoring record this week by scoring his 800th career goal. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Do we know how long he's been playing?
No, but he had gray hair.
He's been playing as long as Wayne Gretzky played. So,
okay.
Wayne Gretzky's full season. I don't know if that
full career, like
full career.
amount.
So if he plays one more season, then he's played a year longer than Wayne Gretzky.
What if he's just like, I already beat Wayne. Now I'm good.
Yeah,
that was his goal. Like
he's
he's
39, I believe. So I mean,
it's not that bad. I would just like get a few more in there, just to make it impossible for the next one.
Yeah.
Yep. Do the same. Go on, King. In basketball news, NBA legends Sue Bird, Maya Moore, and Sylvia Fowles have been elected into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2025.
Wow.
Dwight Howard, Carmelo Anthony were also selected to the class. So
I love this class. Also,
love it.
What does it say that for the Hall of Fame, they're actually people I remember watching play while I'm growing up? Does that mean we're getting old? Because I'm like, I know, like I remember them in their prime.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah,
it does mean that.
Cool.
I feel
it does say something about us.
Love that for me.
Whatever.
Cool though. We got to see their career. Like we got to watch it, and we know why they're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's really cool.
Way to turn
Speaking
that around.
of the Hall of Fame, I feel like we have some future Hall of Famers coming up next. In college basketball, Cooper Flagg, maybe, of Duke has been named AP Player of the Year. Flagg joins Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, and Kevin Durant as the only freshman to win the award.
Wow.
Juju Watkins is the Naismith 2025 National Player of the Year. So it's award season in the sports world, in the basketball world. So really exciting stuff for them.
Yeah.
Also in college news, LSU junior Flau'jae Johnson opted to remain in college for her senior year instead of joining the WNBA draft. So we get one more year from her, and I'm very excited.
Yes.
It's so smart, though, I will say, because of contract negotiations, most people are signing one-year contracts. So might as well just stay, see what happens with contracts, and then join next year.
That's so true.
Yeah, and I think she's also signed to play for Unrivaled, too. So I don't know if she's able to do that this next season for Unrivaled. So that's cool. In society news, British comedian and actor Russell Brand has been charged with rape and sexual assault after an investigation sparked by complaints from several women. The alleged offenses took place between 1999 and 2005.
Yikes.
That's a bad one, but he also gives me bad vibes.
Yeah, he always
Val,
Yeah.
yeah. This one is a bit of a downer. It's a little sad, but Kilmer has sadly passed away from pneumonia at the age of 65. That's very young.
Yeah.
He has some great billings, but Top Gun, Batman Forever, and The Prince of Egypt, which is one of my favorite movies. So, um, sending love
That's
to his
sad.
family.
Yeah.
Some exciting news, though. Kylie and Jason Kelsey welcomed their fourth daughter, Finley, last week. So congrats to the fam, adding another baby girl. And I saw a
love the
clip
name
from her
Finley.
podcast. Yeah. I saw a clip from her podcast where she was saying, like, eldest daughter was so excited for the baby. The second daughter, like, loves the baby too. The former youngest daughter, like her third daughter,
hates
was like,
it.
get her out of here. When do we get to send her back?
I get that.
Poor girl. But exciting news for them, though. I think they're going to be besties. The Beatle biopic revealed actors Paul Mescal as McCartney, Joseph Quinn as Harrison, Barry as Keoghan as Star, and Harris Dickinson as Lennon. So we have all of the Beatles, and I think we reported that they'll each get their own movie. Is that right? Wow. So they're in for a long haul, I feel.
Yeah.
Oh, because they'll be in each other's movie. Or is it? Oh, yeah. That was.
I don't know.
We'll have to see. I don't know.
I
We'll
forgot we
find out.
reported about it, to be honest with you.
Well, something else I'm excited to report about, Candy Burris, if you all aren't familiar, she's from Escape. She's on Real Housewives of Atlanta, singer-songwriter, wrote a lot of really popular songs, R&B songs, but she has officially produced the highest grossing Broadway play of all time. In just its first 7 shows, Othello brought in $2.8 million, and it surpassed the previous record holder held by Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
Wow.
Yeah.
Weird.
Wait, so is it like her take on Othello? Like,
Yeah,
of
I
all
think so.
plays, Othello.
That
You
one,
wouldn't
I know.
think.
She's a great songwriter, so I'm
So it's a
sure the
musical?
music is
Probably good.
Wow. Well, what a huddle, Wahida. Let's get into, you're welcome. Let's get into today's playbook. For today's playbook, we'll start by breaking down recent coach madness.
we might break
Then
down
we will
too.
recap golf history and the Masters. And lastly, we'll finish with a discussion on the Bieber of it all. So with that, I'm going to kick us off with our first topic, coach madness. So for you ladies, first off, UConn on the women's side just won the national championship, making it the 12th national champion, the most winningest school franchise. Is it a franchise in college? Coach, yeah, with 12. So they just beat the record with 12, and they kicked South Carolina's ass. I was hoping for
Beat
more of
their
a game.
asses.
89 to 60
It was like a blowout.
Yeah, it was.
Damn.
The only time it was close was in the first quarter, and I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be a game." And UConn just came out with just their defense is unmatched. I think they have the top defense in the country. And I was saying they were really trying to like prove that they were never at the number 2 seed. And then this was Paige. Yeah, they did it. I mean, I think their average point gap all tournament was like 30 points. So not like they did it like really. And it was Paige's last game, and at the end, Paige and Gino hugged, and they were all crying, and it was a really sweet thing. So I wonder if Gino's gonna retire. Because he's been there forever. I mean,
that's true.
But now that Paige is gone and he's got his 12th championship, let's see. But what I wanted to talk to today, so March Madness is coming to an end. We'll talk about the men's game championship next week because as of this recording, it hasn't played yet. And that's Florida State and Houston. But what I will say is on the basketball coaches side, we've talked a lot about players, we've talked a lot about history, but we haven't gotten to kind of the famous or infamous, if you will, coaches of college basketball. So what kind of sparked this was the UConn men's coach, Dan Hurley, kind of came up in the news the other week when the team lost to actually Florida State in the round of 32. So what happened was at the end of the game, as they were walking down the tunnel, Hurley with his team. He was with his team. So they were like walking out after the loss. And it was like a 77-75 loss. It was a really close game. UConn was ranked 8. Florida State was ranked 1 going into it. A little bit more background. Hurley started coaching with UConn in 2018, and then he won back-to-back championships with UConn. So he won in the 2022-23, and then last year, 23-24. So he was going for their first ever three-peat this past year. So a lot of pressure, a lot of things. Well, what happened in the tunnel, as they were walking in the tunnel, Hurley, the coach, said some like explicitive words. It was something like, I hope they don't F the next team like they F'd us. Like something like, it wasn't like to anyone. It was talking about the reffing. Well, someone in the media tunnel, someone in the tunnel recorded it like just on their phone. And what happened, what caused like kind of the controversy, is the UConn's director of men's basketball communications, Bobby Mullen, then demanded the deletion of the video and threatened the reporter, saying that he'd ruin his life if he didn't delete that video.
That's a little wild.
Yeah. So then now the NCAA and the Raleigh police have launched an investigation into UConn. They've talked about potentially sanctions going down on UConn. And so this kind of sparked this question that I have about what's the line with coaching as far as too far or like part of the game. So Hurley, who has always been known as a hothead on the court, like he yells at the refs, yells at other fans. Like you watch clips of him and he's like a lot. Okay. So this is not the only time, especially this season, that he has been under fire, which is funny because he has a whole Zen room and he talks about how he's working on his Zen meditation of it all. He kind of apologized in a way about what he said. He kind of also put it on like, media shouldn't be recording us at a time like that, walking in the tunnel. Okay. He wasn't attacking anybody. He also says, I'm going to like look back at during the off season to get even more Zen, because his players love him. So he's got a lot of respect with his players. Players love him and they've had a lot of success under him. And so that was kind of my question of, when does it become problematic as a coach if they're yelling, if they like swear, versus if their players love them? Because on the other side, there's the UCLA head coach, Mike Cronin. Like this year, he got under fire because after their team lost, he was really berating the team in the crowd for the loss. He was telling his players, I only care about scoring. It's not about toughness and defense. They have a losing mentality. So he was berating the players in a press conference after, right? And then you also have like Kim Mulkey on LSU on the women's side. She's really known for this like loud yelling. And so that was kind of my question. And I, as a basketball coach, have thoughts on this, and I'm on kind of both sides. But what level of professionalism do you think it's important for coaches? And do you think it's fair to hold coaches to the standard of they can't use profanity? They are not allowed to get caught in the heat of a moment. Does it matter as much, their on-court actions, if their players love them, if they're getting results, if they've got a lot of respect, within their team? What are your guys' thoughts?
The first thing, I'm trying to organize my thoughts here, but I think the first thing that comes to mind is if the coaches are also meant to be like role models for their players, right? They are also supposed to be mentors and stuff too. So I think there is a fine line where, like, if they're taking it too far, then that could be detrimental to like how their players develop. But I also feel that like they should be able to show emotion and in the heat of the moment when it's a really tight game and the stakes are high. I think that shows that they care about the sport, care about the game. And that's also a great example for their players to really kind of plug in, like really lock into play. But I do believe like some things need to happen locker room. Some things make sense on the floor, if that makes sense. But I also feel like I understand, even as a fan watching, like the frustration of refs being just like, like your team is playing well. You're coaching really well. Like I can understand why it's frustrating when the refs are kind of imposing on their ability to play. And sometimes that does happen. I think it happens more frequently than not. So I understand that piece. But aren't there there are like like nets for that, like safety nets for that, right? Like that's why technicals happen and stuff like, but that's all dependent on what the refs feel. So I don't know. I think it's really interesting, but I feel as though they're a human being and I feel like they should be able to show some of that, especially as the game is going. But I do believe that there are some things that need to happen, like behind the scenes, the conversations need to happen with the team behind the scenes. And I think that's just more of a respect thing. Like, I don't want to call you out in front of everyone, but I am going to hold you accountable to what I feel like your standard should be, specifically to that second coach.
Yeah, maybe I didn't hear right, but in that tunnel, is that like normal that there's someone just like recording?
So what they're reporting on is that tunnel is media usually hangs out and then they usually clear it for when players and coaches walk by. So it's not like it's no media allowed.
But it's like normally not a place that you're expected to be like on camera and recorded.
Yeah, well, there's some people
Especially
like
after
he
a
should
tough
know.
loss or something.
Yeah, some people are like he should know better, and then on the other side, people are like you're kind of getting the coach at the head of. It kind of brings me back to a little bit on the NCAA or not the NCAA, college football when they allow like flag planting to happen after the game. Like, at what point too does the NCAA like boundaries end, right? And then like media, even if it's like allowed, like they're totally trying to get clickbait. Like that didn't have to be. Granted, I don't think he should have been threatened by the. I think that was the more problematic was the being threatened by the community. That was the problem, but still.
I don't know if I'm like. It'd be one thing if the coach was like screaming at the players. There was like a history with the coach that like none of them really liked him. Like part of it is like when you get a coach, you build a team and a culture that works for everybody. And it seems like with the results they're getting, and if the players are saying they like him, it's working. And if this is like the one time or one of a couple times that he's getting caught on a hot mic, in arguably like a huge tournament, am I like, oh my God, he's terrible and he's not being professional? Right. Not really. Like I've left a meeting before at work and been like, fuck, and no one was recording me. Like, and that's not even anywhere near the level of stress they're at. So I agree there's like a place for it in, the locker room, obviously, but I don't know. If to me, like you said, Ariana, it's more problematic that they threatened the person with action. Like that was the crazy line where I'm like, why is a coach getting in trouble when someone like did something very illegal and just like always, like regardless if this was basketball or not.
Yeah. Well, and I think too is when you think of the OGs, I guess you could say, of the basketball coaching world, like it used to be a lot more yelling, a lot like chair throwing, clipboard breaking. And so we've gone
which was
away,
kind of fun.
Which like fans loved. And so I think that goes.
This is why we love Lou Piniella.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which is like, I feel like in this day and age, we're getting away from that. Also, people are getting recorded always, whereas that wasn't as prevalent back in the day, right? And so as long as there's no harm being done to the players and the players
Did you say prevalent?
Prevalent.
The SAT word.
Did I say it wrong? Prevalent. Yeah.
Prevalent. I was like,
she's just an accent.
Sorry.
I just made it
I had
up.
to. In the middle of this, we got her,
But yeah, so I think that was what the coach madness of it. We'll see. People are wondering if he'll like Dan Hurley will turn a new leaf and be more zen. But we'll see. But there's other coaches. Like I think he's also more well known, and there's other coaches that are yelling and that are more berating to players on the field, on the court, and off the court. So I mean, it shows that, yeah, he's got people trying to go into the transfer portal, but folks opt to stay and they know what to expect when they go. And apparently he's like really good with the players, really supportive, really easy to talk to. He just is a freaking hothead that can't control himself.
Shit.
Yeah. So maybe he needs some more therapy. That's maybe all.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
That.
Maybe a little anti-anxiety.
Yeah.
We all get by with a little help from our friends,
Yeah, exactly.
Do I know? Well, I think it's time to transition to an equally hot-headed sport. You see a lot of freakouts. You see all kinds of yelling. Sometimes a clap that goes astray. But today I'm excited because we're breaking down golf. and a little bit of like the info on the infamous Masters tournament, which is slated to be next weekend, which I'm actually going to a Masters golf party with some friends, which like, what are the chances of that, right?
Prestigious, W.
You manifested it with this story.
Prestigious, I was kidding.
Prevalent, prestigious. What did you say? Prestigious?
Yeah. But that was a joke.
I like it. Oh, it was?
Yeah.
I thought, okay, whatever. I live, laugh, love. But fun fact before we dive into this, because I feel like it's going to seem like I have no idea what I'm talking about, which is sort of true. But I was on the golf team in high school and my first job was at a golf course. So you'd think I'd know more.
You are an expert.
But
you're an expert on this pod.
All I'm going to pull is like, I was young. I was developing. There was a lot of things I was learning all at once. Okay. But for some context, the game of golf has been with us for a long fucking time. Although there's like a long history of what I've now learned are ball and stick type games, but it's like all over the world. I know, ball and stick games all over the world. I don't know, sounds like creation to me. But anyways, the game of modern golf is largely credited to the Scots from the 15th century. So that's a long time. And the British Open, for just some context also, was first played in 1860. So again, it's just been with us for a really long time. And I kind of knew that, but I feel like having the numbers helps a little bit better. But anyways, one question that I had when we brought this topic up last week was like, what the heck is golf season? And it's kind of a complicated answer. According to Google, the two major golf tours, which is like, they're called tours because they travel around the country on a tour to play golf, is the PGA, the Professional Golf Association of America, and then the LIV Tour. And that's a reference to the Roman number 54 for the number of holes played in their 3-day tournaments, which...
I was watching the LIV tournament yesterday because it's here in
Were
Florida.
you?
It's in Florida.
Well, that makes sense.
Is it happening now?
It happened yesterday.
Well, because golf season runs from January to August. So yes, it does happen now. Perfect segue, you guys. Today, we're mostly going to focus on the PGA, but I think a future episode could go into detail about the LIV tournament.
Laugh,
there's tea there. Yeah, live, laugh, love. I don't know how I feel about the LIV, but here I am doing it. So there's been some drama brewing there. But for the PGA, there are 4, the main tour events. Oh God, the PGA, the main tour events tournament are through January through August. This is where I get really fucking confused. And culminate, Jesus, now I can't say it. Culminate with the championship cup. Yeah, now here I go. It's just like karma, you know? Culminate with a championship cup in August. This is where I get confused. Within the tour, there's also this thing called the FedEx Cup. That's like basically you earn points throughout the year for how you do in tournaments. And I guess you're like crowned at the end in August. It's like the end of the season. You're crowned at the FedEx Cup for all the points you got over the season.
But how is that different from the championship cup?
You guys, I tried to figure out if it's the same thing or not. I cannot for the life of me. I had 9 tabs open at once. Because here's the thing, there's signature events through this January through August timeline, and then there are major championship events also. So you've got this timeline, there's all of these golf tours, some of them are signature, some of them are major, and I believe you can win the cup at the end for how you do and all of that is how I understand it. So signature events have large purses, which is many, not beautiful bags, but you can get large, not a Burke.
It's giving golf.
Can you imagine if they were just giving out bags? Like,
not the jackets, but the bags.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. So you get large purses and gives you FedEx Cup points. Okay, FedEx is here again. And then the majors give you more FedEx points, world ranking points, and substantially larger purses. So then don't even ask me what world ranking is, because is that somehow out of PGA? I don't know, you guys. I know I'm telling the story, but there's a lot of shit coming up.
We have a lot of questions, which we'll maybe get to. We need someone that's a golf expert to come.
I'm going to ask my dad. I'm going to ask my dad, who's a teacher and a golf coach.
He's a golf. Your dad is a golf coach, and you don't know this stuff. That's
You guys,
embarrassing.
like we're talking about it. Like first off, he mumbles like nobody's business. Like after I'm like, what's happening? Anyways, so there's a lot going on, but I think the four big like main major events where there's only four major events in the PGA are the ones that we like I think are most like we know
Familiar with.
about, which are the Masters, the US Open Championship, the British Open, and then the PGA Tour Championship. Still unknown if this is different than the FedEx Cup, okay? So, I think for say it. What are you
No,
thinking?
I feel like it's because I wasn't paying attention. You're telling me that
Yeah.
Masters is part of the PGA Tour, or is that
Uh-huh.
separate and it
Yeah, it's
counts
one of the
into the
major
PGA?
events of the PGA Tour.
Okay.
Is it the
No.
culminating one?
Culmination?
No.
That's interesting because that's the only one.
No,
I mean,
that ends in August and the Masters are now. So it's one of the big four where you can get more points to win the FedEx Cup. That's why I think it's different
It's
than
like it's just like they're more weighted.
yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
they get more
The
everything.
signature events.
Gotcha.
No, signature events get less. Majors
Oh, this
get
is a
more.
major. Got it.
Well,
I know. See why I
this-
was confused?
okay. I don't because Masters is played at the same course every year.
Yeah.
Okay, so then not that I know anything about golf, but it's certain courses are harder or easier to play.
Exactly.
Right? And that's why they're weighted
Yes.
more, especially if these ones are always played at the same courses. Or is the Masters always? I don't know. Sorry, that might have
Masters
been
is always at the same course. I don't know about the other ones. I'm imagining, yes, they're played at the same courses, but I know the Masters course is just like notoriously so hard.
Okay. Which makes
But
sense
I
then
mean,
why
I'm
it's weighted
imagining
more.
that's why it's a major. Yeah, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's a good guess. I like it.
But yeah, so again, what I was going to go into was the Masters. So I think a lot of us, as probably our listeners know, if you say the Masters, like I just think of that damn green coat. Like all I think about is that coat. And I think that
Keeps you up at night, Chelsea.
well, I couldn't pull it off. You guys know how I feel about that color of green. It doesn't do well with my summer, aesthetic. But whatever. She persisted, she kept going. So I think as we go into next weekend, because people will be talking about it, there's a few things that like would be helpful to know about the Masters. So I'll give you a couple tips, like Masters 101. So apparently this is going to be the 89th Masters tournament. So really close to the big
89?
100, but 89. Yeah,
Wow.
89.
Wow.
Over 4 days, the players will play 72 holes of golf.
Holy shit. That seems like a lot.
Insane. It is a lot. Have you ever played 18? Like that takes me out. Like in high school, sometimes
I
they
haven't
say
even played one.
Yeah.
9, and I'd be like,
I can
the
barely get through a
18
pup course.
Yeah,
I
like a
could barely
putt-putt.
get putt-putt with the beer in hand,
Yeah, barely.
Okay, this is answering your question already, Ersan. It's the smallest field. Actually, no, it's not. Sorry. This is the smallest field, meaning it has the least amount of players able to participate in the major events. So interesting. And then that green jacket started in 1937 when members of that club, I can't say it. I think it's August National.
Augusta?
Yeah. It just says
Augusta.
August. I must have missed an A in there.
It's Augusta here later.
But the members there started wearing those jackets so they could be easily identifiable by patrons.
August.
Yeah, I put August. I'm like, there's no way. I'm pretty August. There's just no. A huge gust of wind came in and that jacket flew down. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, so all the members who went to that club wore the jacket. So then when people started winning the tournament, they became an honorary member of the club and get the jacket. So it's prestigious, honorary, exclusive. You get to be a member after that. And then it's called the Masters, which I was actually very curious about because the owners originally titled it the Augusta, there's the A, National Invitation Tournament, but changed it to the Masters in reference to Masters of Golf. But they felt at first it seemed a little too like presumptuous that like the Masters of Golf are playing here. But they stood on business and changed it. Yeah, enough for me. I feel like I've maybe confused people more, to be honest with you. But if you're feeling brave and want to learn more about golf, like get out there, help us figure out what the FedEx Cup is. What questions y'all have? I mean, we're going to go into it a little bit more after we learn who wins next week, but what questions do you have that maybe I can answer next week?
I don't know if it's a question so much as like just a statement. I'm very confused as to why like the thing that we hear the most about. I know maybe because I don't watch golf, but like
Yeah.
as a casual, as just a person in
Ooh, I
this
love that.
world,
Cash.
like I hear about the Masters, so I was always under the impression that the Masters were like the culminating event. But to find out that
Yeah.
it's not even like the last of the
Like the
major
first.
events blows my mind. I'm
A
like,
little
wait, this is
confusing.
kicking it off, but it weighs the most. It's so weird to me. Like you would think logically
true.
that like you would you would
You
like,
want to
the
build up
group
to
would
it,
get
yeah.
smaller. Yeah, the amount of people that qualify
Yeah.
gets smaller, but it's the opposite. It's weird. So I'm just confused
Yeah.
about that. That's not a question for you. It's golf world. Why is that the
Golf world.
case?
Maybe they'll send us to the next Masters and we'll ask.
All I can think of is the Goblet of Fire and the Triwizard Tournament is what this feels most like. It is
Yeah,
like,
you know what? That's so true.
Yeah.
I know. This is like so
Maybe
each.
maybe that's
you
why
got
she
it?
modeled it. Yeah, modeled it after.
So the FedEx Cup, is that the Triwizard Cup or is the other, does it matter?
Watch out, Cedric.
Don't die.
My boy.
My son. Maybe I'll scream that out when someone like sinks a putt. My boy.
I do love the like golf, like the golf clap is like a real like,
Oh
you're
yeah.
like you have a silent on the course. The Happy Gilmore. I mean, I feel like that was my introduction to golf as a kid was Happy Gilmore, which I know is not actually how golf is
Wait, have
played.
either of
I
you
mean,
ever
Billy
played?
Madison, Happy Gilmore. Billy
Outside
Madison.
of putt golf.
Wait, which
no,
which one is it? Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore? That's golf one.
Those are two different golf movies.
but they're both golf.
They're both golf?
Yeah, I
Aren't
think
they?
so, right?
Yeah.
Billy Madison. I know Happy Gilmore is.
Okay, I was thinking Happy Gilmore. There's gonna be a second one, apparently.
Yeah, Travis Kelce's gonna be in it.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
I know. Can you believe?
I'm curious. I think growing up, I thought golf was the most boring sport in the world, and I didn't understand how people could watch
Still
it
do.
all the time on TV because I'm like, this is like a long game. Like you're just watching. So my brother got really into like going to the range, and he bought me a gift card for my birthday, and so I went, and I was actually really surprised how hard it is to hit a golf club, and it feels so awkward, and you're using different parts of your body. So I gained a lot of respect there.
Don't move those
And
hips.
I know, which is so hard because every other sport is
These
so about
hips
so much
don't
hip
lie.
movement.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
As a
how not to
softballer
move.
and golfer growing up, it was hella hard.
Yeah,
Your
I
like brain
bet.
is like counter whatever.
Uh-huh. Keep that arm straight.
So
Lock the
I'm
pinkies.
definitely interested to hear more and understand more because especially as I get older, I feel like that's the sport people
The
age
pace.
into.
Yeah.
They age into, and your body can like handle
Yeah.
it a little bit more. I mean, I know people get injured in golf, but there's young folks, but then there's a lot of people that are older playing.
Yeah. My grandparents played for years. My grandpa even had like a couple holes in ones at his country club.
Oh, nice.
Like in his
I
like
think
70s.
So that brings me to wonder, like, what is the
Okay,
average
say it.
age of a golf, like what is the golf lifespan?
Like a
You know what I
professional
mean? Yeah. Like,
golf
when do
life.
you age out of playing golf? And when do you start? You know, because
No,
they're
it's
they're
true
not
because
getting
I think it's
drafted
Fred
out of
Couples.
like college or anything, right? It's not a typical draft
Well, I
like
will say,
model.
yeah. Well, golf too is always in my mind known as a more prestigious sport that you need money to get into, right? Because like the fees to play on like the equipment
It's
to
true.
go play on golf courses. Like if you're not like a member of a golf club, I don't know that's not what that's called, but it costs money. And then usually teams that have golf teams are like the schools that are in more expensive areas and neighborhoods. I think it's
Sure.
kind of changing, but I think that is also like the barrier with golf is people aren't getting into it younger unless they've got money.
Can I give you one quick answer just because my parents were one of those people? They were like, I'm not going to lie. My childhood in the summer like was rough. My parents were watching baseball and golf nonstop. And like, to me, those are both
The
really
two
slow
most
sports.
exciting sports ever.
Yeah. Like, I just feel like, motherfucker. And so, but I remember this name, Fred Couples. I'm pretty sure he's from Seattle. He is 65 years old, and he will be playing in his 40th Masters tournament this coming weekend.
Wow.
And he won it in 1992. So it's a long ass career.
Yeah.
Like, if you can keep up.
He's played in like nearly half of the Masters that have happened in the history of Masters.
Oh yeah, because it's like at 89.
That's wild.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Also, like, he won in 92, and he's still like
he's still chasing the dream.
He's chasing the dream.
He wants more green. He doesn't have enough green blazers in his closet.
The jacket, the green jacket. You guys call it the coat blazers. It's the green jacket.
Oh, it's is it called the quote unquote
jacket?
The green jacket?
Did we call it a blazer?
Wahida just did.
Oh, I was like, wait,
technically it is a freaking blazer, okay? But
I think these are all synonymous.
You called it
Virgo.
Well,
whatever.
It's prevalent in this conversation.
Okay, culmination.
I know. And it'll culminate with the we're done with this topic.
So yeah, take it away from us, Wahida.
I think you should grab your popcorn for this story. But we're going to dive into the love triangle that is Justin, Selena, and Hailey Bieber. I feel like this is a love triangle that the internet just will not let die, because when I get into the story of it, the timeline, you're going to see how far back this goes. And I didn't even realize it. It's pretty ridiculous. Like, we got to let it go, friends. Elsa, let it go. But their love story, if you will, this story starts in 2009. Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber had an on-again and off-again relationship, ultimately ending in 2018. Could you imagine? They're already young still. That was so much of their like life. It's ridiculous to think about. Yeah. Well, 18, Justin Bieber began dating Hailey Baldwin. This is not new information to anyone, but they got married the year later. So that obviously led some folks to speculate that Hailey and Justin had some things going on while Selena and Justin were off and on again during that, 9-year time span. Well, recently in 2022, this is when it gets kind of like wild, because I feel like this is
like
when
a new level,
because this is when the like social media really, I think, started to peak. People were on all these different platforms, so everyone is capturing and having being able to provide their own commentary on what was happening. And these fans are really plugged in, like on another level. So in 2022, in October, Hailey addressed rumors on the Call Your Daddy podcast, stating that there was no overlap in her relationship with Justin during his time with Selena. Maybe not, maybe so. We don't know, but that's what she was, implying. Later that month, Selena and Hailey posed together at the Academy Museum Gala, signaling like no bad blood.
Cute photos.
They were cute photos. And it like really looked like they were, fine.
Comfortable.
And this is just something that we're blowing out of proportion, or the fans and media are. So in 2023, this is where it kind of gets, I feel like there's just an ebb and flow of this story. So in 2023, in February, Hailey and friends posted a TikTok lip syncing to a popular audio, and it was interpreted as they were shading Selena. And Hailey, of course, denied any ill intent, because, of course, a few months before they were like friends. They were taking photos together and stuff. So around that time, fans also speculated, and I remember this story, Hailey and Kylie Jenner mocking Selena's like eyebrows, over laminated eyebrows on Instagram. And so they both, of course, refuted that, but fans ran with the story anyways. And Selena also, I think at this point, was really just trying to focus on moving away from it. So she just claimed it was unnecessary drama. She's trying to live her life. So your girl, Taylor Swift, popped in the story somehow. Hailey was just like gagging. There was another video, of course, of Hailey gagging at Taylor Swift, or the mention of her. And Selena, of course, came out and defended her friend because they're besties. But not too long after that, she mentioned that she was going to go on a social media break. I think she's done that a few times where she's gone on and off, and she would always come back on to say something when she said she was off. And that, I think, started to kind of really get at some fans. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you continuing
Just
to
go
like,
off. You don't need to announce it. Yeah.
make any comments or anything? But
Which, whatever.
when she was on her break, Hailey labeled that rumor and that feud of the feud, if you will, just completely made up and twisted. Like, she was calling out the division that was being created, and I think she was calling out both kind of fandoms. But of course,
Yeah.
folks took it a little personally on one side. So that brings us back to today, or this year, 2025. There was a whole bunch of things happening since the beginning of the year. Q1 was insane for this story, but Justin accidentally unfollowed Hailey on Instagram and quickly refollowed her. And he just mentioned like he had been hacked, something happened, whatever that was. In March, he briefly deactivated his Instagram, leading to rumors that Hailey had unfollowed him. And I think we've talked about this where like they said it was a glitch in the system.
Yeah, it keeps
And
being
maybe
like
it
something
was
weird.
like what,
Yeah.
okay. But
Well, you
also
said
again,
Facebook said it, right? Meta said there was a glitch.
yes, yeah. They said it was a glitch and it was happening to a bunch of folks. But also during this time, Hailey allegedly liked a TikTok video mocking Selena and her fiance Benny Blanco, which her representative has denied, has kind of like refuted. Um, we don't know what happens there, but in April, fans speculated that Justin shaded Selena's engagement by posting a meme. I forget what the meme was, but he was saying like,
It was like, well, first off, there's also like Selena released the album with Benny. And
that's right,
so from the album being released, Justin's like, they seem related. He's posting way more on social. And he posted like the little guy from Lord of the Rings, like when he finds the ring or
elder
whatever.
ring.
And it says like when girls get engaged or whatever. And it's like, that is funny, but also like, why are you posting this?
Yeah,
Like, I
exactly.
thought you guys wanted this drama to stop.
And folks were saying he had a video out that was like, I think he was a little under the influence, and he like we saw only that little bit of the video. We weren't sure like what he was doing, but folks were saying, he's spiraling because of this news. So of course, like the rumor mills are feeding this story as they have been since 2009. But one thing that stood out to me about all of this, and it's not so much just specifically about this story, but this group of like these group of stars have grown up in the spotlight, if you will, and
Yeah.
their relationship like was really early on in their lives, and I feel like that's hard to walk away from as it is. But when you're constantly being watched by the media and your fans are not letting you kind of move away from this part of your life, it's kind of challenging too. And I feel like on one hand, how can we ask them to grow, like move on from it if we are
If
locking
we're
them
not.
into it? Yeah, if we're not letting them.
Yeah.
And they think on the other hand too, like this last piece where why are you commenting on it? Like you also know you have a bunch of fans who have thoughts and are continuously going to feel the story. Why
Yeah.
not just like I don't know, go talk to a therapist as opposed to like posting it online, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Or a friend.
Or a friend, somebody, I don't know. But I also feel like, they didn't really get a chance to kind of develop in that way, especially because they've been in a really weird like industry for so long, so much of their lives. But I don't know. This brought me to this question. So like, what is it? Like the chicken or the egg? Is it that we're feeling the
Eh,
drama that continues to push this narrative forward, or is it that like they are really leaning into it and kind of performing so that there is drama that we
I
can
think it's
speak
both.
to?
Yeah. Well, one thing I just thought of too is maybe this drama is coming back up to mask other stuff that's either coming or is happening. So, Justin and Hailey have a new baby. Justin's mentor like raised him, P. Diddy, is in jail and all that stuff coming out. Like, apparently Justin's not, maybe not at the best mental state right now.
Exactly.
So sometimes I think when these rumors come up and things like that happen, it might be a tool that they can use to try to like calm down maybe other stuff coming down the pipeline. But at the end of the day, I can't imagine being so like to think you have to be someone like there must be, I'm sure there's AI bots now to like check when someone follows and unfollows. Like I also
Yeah.
think they grew up in the spotlight. And so some of this stuff is just like emotional outbursts, which us as humans, especially folks that haven't like processed it, do it. But when you're a celebrity, then it becomes this big, huge news. So I guess I'm always on the side of everyone calm the F down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's both, to be honest with you. I think that, like, not to be a brat, but like Justin and Selena are making money off this. Like, we're listening to the music because we're like, oh my God, because they did the, what is it? It's like the Taylor Swift, like, Easter eggs, right? It's them. Like, are they referencing each other? And what do you know? Justin Bieber's kind of going to release an album after, and there's going to be, we're going to tune into that. And then I think creators are making money off all the videos of it. I mean, there's a video going around about Hailey being a stalker. It has like 4 point something million views. Yeah. Someone's making a shit ton of money off that. You know what I mean? So it's like constantly being fed. People are going in on it. And I don't know. Like, I think for a little bit, that back and forth for the like 2009, 2018, like it was a little captivating because you would see them maybe like go be with someone else. And then all of a sudden they're riding bikes on the beach. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? Like, so it did feel like a story for a while. But after they got married, like, I don't.
Why is this happening? Yeah.
Well,
like,
Selena's
married or moved on.
Happy, right? She's engaged too. It's not like they're both in relationships.
Well, like, Arison, to something that you said made me think of this, but like to the whole publicity piece where they may be like spotlighting these stories, like the artists themselves, like the celebrities themselves may want to kind of spotlight these stories so that anything else that comes out is kind of, pushed aside or not focused on as much. I think about that like PR kind of perspective of things. That also can't be very healthy for them, right? Like, this isn't a good story that they're pushing out. This is like digging back into rehashing drama that has happened for so long that is not like necessary anymore, clearly had an impact on both of them, and they're starting to move on, but we're going to lean back into this story just because other things might be coming out. I think that that's harmful to them. Just as I think about it from the human perspective, like how are they supposed to get better or even work through this when we're continuously, wherever it's coming from, whether it's the media, the fans, or their teams, pulling them back into it.
Well, it's weird because it seems like, this is the last thing I'll say about it, but it seems like when Justin got with Hailey and they got married, they seemed like they did a bunch of work and he seemed in a really good place. And then you had Selena over here not well. And now it feels like it's going the other way, that now she's really happy and secure in something. And now he's not well. And just like when she wasn't well, I was like, oh God dang, I hope she's okay. I feel the same. Yeah. And he has like, hers is very like, it feels like illnesses. At least his seem drug related, which is not that illnesses aren't scary, but the drug ones can go bad so fast. So I just hope that he takes care of himself and he can have the people he needs around him to kind of get through this next phase. So sending,
especially if there are
light.
Those other things that are coming up too.
And there's a little baby in this conversation too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, sorry to kind of like end it on a low note, but that is a wrap for today. So, like, let us know what stories you want to hear next week, okay?
And don't forget to hit follow and subscribe to our show on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple, and turn on notifications so you can stay up to date on all the latest sport and society stories.
And please, please, please rate the pod. But in the meantime, stay sharp, stay sassy, and we'll catch you later.